Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. For centuries, our main weapons against cancer have been surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. It's a scorched earth strategy, effective but brutal, often harming healthy cells alongside the cancerous ones. But what if we could stop fighting cancer with carpet bombs and start using guided missiles? What if we could teach our own immune system to hunt and destroy cancer cells with precision? This is the promise of immunotherapy, and a groundbreaking technology is pushing it into a new era, the nanoparticle shield. We're talking about something that once sounded like pure science fiction, a universal cancer vaccine. The rapid development of mRNA vaccines for COVID-19 showed us just how powerful this technology could be, and now scientists are applying those lessons, combining them with nanotechnology, to take on one of humanity's greatest medical challenges. Let's dive into the science behind the nanoparticle shield, the race to develop these new vaccines, and what it could mean for the future of cancer treatment. First, we need to understand why creating a cancer vaccine is so incredibly difficult. Unlike a virus or bacteria, which are foreign invaders, cancer is a disease of the self. Cancer cells are our own cells that have gone rogue. They retain many of the characteristics of our normal, healthy cells, which allows them to essentially wear camouflage and fly under the radar of our immune system. This is a key reason cancer can establish itself and spread without being stopped. Another huge hurdle is that cancer isn't one single disease. It's a collection of hundreds of different diseases, each with its own unique genetic fingerprint. Even within a single tumor, you can have multiple populations of cancer cells with different mutations. This makes it almost impossible to find a single, universal target that works against all, or even most, cancers. Early attempts at cancer vaccines often focused on something called tumor-associated antigens, or TAAs. These are proteins that are found in much higher amounts on cancer cells than on normal cells. But the key phrase there is "than on normal cells." Because they are still present on healthy tissue, even at low levels, there's always a risk that the vaccine could trigger an autoimmune response, where the immune system starts attacking the body's own healthy tissue. These challenges are precisely why the emergence of nanotechnology has been such a game changer. This brings us to the nanoparticle shield. Now, this isn't a literal physical shield. It's a sophisticated delivery platform, a microscopic vehicle designed to protect and transport a vaccine's active ingredients to exactly where they need to go in the body. Nanoparticles are unbelievably small, typically between 1 and 100 nanometers. For perspective, a single human hair is about 80,000 to 100,000 nanometers wide. This minuscule size allows them to navigate our circulatory system and interact with cells on a molecular level. In cancer vaccines, these nanoparticles serve several critical functions. First, protection. The active ingredients in a modern vaccine, like messenger RNA or mRNA, are incredibly fragile. Left on their own in the bloodstream, they'd be destroyed by enzymes in seconds. Nanoparticles act like an armored car, encapsulating this precious cargo and ensuring it arrives at its destination intact. Second, targeted delivery. These tiny vehicles can be engineered with a GPS system designed to home in on specific cells. For a vaccine, the ideal target is an antigen-presenting cell, or APC. These are the sentinels of the immune system. By delivering the vaccine payload directly to APCs, the whole immune response can be kicked off far more efficiently. Third, enhanced immunogenicity. This is a fancy way of saying they make the immune system pay more attention. Nanoparticles can be designed to mimic the size and shape of pathogens like viruses, which naturally puts the immune system on high alert. They can also carry extra ingredients called adjuvants, which act like a megaphone, shouting at the immune system to boost its response and create a more powerful and lasting anti-tumor effect. And finally, controlled release. Some nanoparticles can be designed to release their payload slowly over time, providing a sustained stimulus to the immune system. keeping it engaged in the fight for longer. So what are these nanoparticles made of? Scientists have a whole arsenal of them, but they mostly fall into three main categories. The most famous right now are lipid-based nanoparticles, or LNPs. If you got a Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, you've already had a close encounter with LNPs. These are tiny spheres of fat, and their secret weapon is a component called an ionizable lipid. At the neutral pH of your bloodstream, this lipid is uncharged, keeping the particles stable. But when the LNP is swallowed by a cell into a little bubble called an endosome, the environment becomes acidic. This acidity causes the lipid to become positively charged, which helps the LNP fuse with the endosome's membrane and release its mRNA cargo into the cell's main cytoplasm. Once there, the cell's machinery reads the mRNA and starts producing the protein it codes for. In a cancer vaccine, that mRNA codes for a tumor antigen, a protein specific to the cancer. The antigen-presenting cell then displays this protein on its surface, like a wanted poster, to activate the immune system's T cells, which are the soldiers that go out and hunt down anything displaying that same poster. The second category is polymeric nanoparticles. These are made from biocompatible and biodegradable polymers, like PLGA, which is a material already used in things like dissolvable stitches. These particles are incredibly versatile. Scientists can precisely control their size, shape, and surface charge to optimize their delivery. They can be loaded with a wider variety of cargo than LNPs, including not just mRNA, but also fully formed protein antigens and adjuvants. A Phase 1 clinical trial using polymeric nanoparticles loaded with lysate, basically the guts of destroyed tumor cells, showed it could induce a potent immune response in patients with non-small cell lung cancer. The third category is a new frontier: inorganic nanoparticles. These are particles made from materials like gold, silica, or iron oxide. Gold nanoparticles, for example, have been shown to have their own immune-stimulating properties. Iron oxide nanoparticles are magnetic, which opens up wild possibilities for using magnets to guide them to a tumor, and also for using them in medical imaging. Research here is in the early stages, but a vaccine based on silica nanoparticles, loaded with protein fragments from HPV-related cancers, has already shown it can trigger a strong anti-tumor response in preclinical studies. This incredible progress isn't happening in a vacuum. It's being driven by brilliant researchers around the world. At the University of Florida, Dr. Elias Seyor has been a pioneer in mRNA cancer vaccines. His lab developed a novel method that involves taking RNA directly from a patient's own tumor and packaging it in unique, multi-layered lipid nanoparticles that look like tiny onions. The design is meant to trick the immune system into thinking the cancer is a dangerous viral infection, provoking a very rapid and strong response. This work has already moved into a first-in-human clinical trial for glioblastoma, one of the deadliest brain cancers, with promising early results. More recently, his team found that a generalized mRNA vaccine, one that doesn't target a specific tumor antigen, but just broadly stimulates the immune system, also showed powerful anti-cancer effects in mice. Another key figure is Dr. Hai-Quan Mao at Johns Hopkins University. His team has been focused on fine-tuning the exact recipe of the lipid nanoparticles themselves. They discovered that certain LNP compositions could simultaneously activate two different types of helper T cells, leading to a much more comprehensive and effective attack on tumors. By combining these optimized nanoparticles with other existing cancer drugs, they were able to dramatically shrink tumors and extend survival in animal models. These scientific breakthroughs are now being translated into real-world treatments by a number of innovative companies. One of the most exciting areas is personalized cancer vaccines. This involves sequencing a patient's tumor to identify its unique mutations, called neoantigens. These neoantigens are perfect targets because they are only present on the cancer cells, not healthy cells, eliminating the risk of autoimmune side effects. A vaccine is then custom-built for that single patient, BioNTech, the company that partnered with Pfizer on the COVID vaccine, is a leader here. Their platform, called iNest, uses mRNA to teach the immune system to recognize a patient's specific neoantigens. In an early trial, all 13 patients developed an immune response against their tumors. BioNTech is also working on an off-the-shelf platform called FixVac, which targets a fixed set of antigens commonly found in certain cancer types, like melanoma. Moderna, another mRNA giant, is also in the race. They're collaborating with Merck on a personalized vaccine called mRNA 4157. A recent phase 2 trial showed that when combined with the popular immunotherapy drug Keytruda, the vaccine significantly reduced the risk of recurrence or death in patients with high-risk melanoma. This is a huge deal. They're also testing a vaccine that targets solid tumors. But the Holy Grail remains a truly universal cancer vaccine. A preclinical company called CancerVax is pursuing a fascinating strategy. Their platform aims to trick the immune system by using nanoparticles to deliver a special marker mRNA to cancer cells. This causes the cancer cells to start expressing proteins that are normally associated with common diseases, like measles, diseases our immune systems are already experts at recognizing and destroying. The idea is to make the cancer cell paint a giant target on its own back that the immune system simply can't miss. This is still in its very early stages, but it highlights the creative thinking going into this field. It's also important to understand that these vaccines will likely be most powerful when used as part of a combination therapy. For example, combining them with checkpoint inhibitors, the drugs I mentioned earlier like Keytruda. These drugs work by releasing the brakes on the immune system. So the vaccine creates an army of cancer-fighting T cells, and the checkpoint inhibitor makes sure that army can do its job without being shut down by the tumor's defenses. Even older treatments like chemotherapy and radiation can play a role. These therapies can cause cancer cells to die in a way that releases a flood of tumor antigens into the body. This process, called immunogenic cell death, can act as a natural booster for a vaccine, creating a virtuous cycle of cancer cell death and immune activation. Of course, the road to a universal cancer vaccine is still filled with hurdles. The sheer diversity of cancer remains the biggest challenge. A vaccine might wipe out 99% of a tumor, but if even a few resistant cells survive, the cancer can come back. Tumors are also masters of creating a protective microenvironment that suppresses the immune system, making it hard for T cells to even get in and do their job. Then there's the practical challenge of manufacturing and cost. Personalized vaccines are incredible, but they currently cost upwards of $100,000 per patient and take weeks or months to produce. Making these treatments affordable and accessible to everyone will be a massive undertaking. And finally, as with any new medical technology, long-term safety and efficacy need to be proven in large, long-term studies. The prospect of a universal cancer vaccine also raises profound ethical questions. The biggest is equitable access. If these treatments remain astronomically expensive, we could create a future where only the wealthy can afford a cure for cancer. This is a problem society will have to confront head-on, involving governments, insurance companies, and the pharmaceutical industry. Despite these challenges, the future of cancer care has never looked brighter. The nanoparticle shield isn't just an incremental improvement. It represents a fundamental paradigm shift in how we approach this disease. We are entering an era of true precision medicine, where treatments are tailored to the individual patient, and our own bodies are empowered to be the cure. The journey is far from over, but with every new discovery and every successful trial, we move one step closer to a future where cancer is no longer a death sentence, but a preventable, treatable disease. The nanoparticle shield may be invisible, but its impact could be monumental.